everybody, this is Chris and Carol Green, and we'd like to welcome you to Fruitful Living. Today, we want to give you what we call 5 N's to the windows of opportunity, the doors of success, and in the way of fulfillment. And when we say N, we don't mean the letter N, we actually mean the word N, I-N. And when we're talking about opportunities and successful fulfillment, we're talking about what can come and happen in your life in relationships, in business, in community outreach, local church, home groups, whatever it is that you are working on or involved in. We believe that these 5 N's will really get you there as far as really being able to seize the opportunities that come, get into the success that you look for, and experience the fulfillment that we all want. And so, Carol, let's just talk about the 5 N's.
All right. Well, the first N is intercessional.
Now, when we say intercessional, we actually mean being willing to stand in the gap for somebody else. And one of the first things that's going to be very important for all of us to recognize is that you can't be just focused on yourself and your own success, only on your fulfillment and only on your opportunities. You have to be willing to really think about somebody else. And when we're thinking about somebody else, being willing to pray, yeah, that's that word, pray for somebody else. Now, we don't think prayer is just a waste of time talking to some nebulous being who does not really exist. We believe that God actually exists and that He hears our prayers. And it's very meaningful when we're willing to pray for somebody else, especially if they're in a difficult time.
Oh, definitely. Because you're not just talking to God, He's talking to you. He's giving you strategy. He's giving you greater wisdom as to how to deal in the situation or with the person. So it's a two-way conversation.
The next N is to be willing to be invitational. Now, this is very important because invitational means that you are willing to invite someone else into your journey and in your story, as well as being willing to step into someone else's story and journey if they invite you into their life. One of the things that we see often, especially in this heavy social media age that we live in, is that not many people are really prepared for real interaction with one another. And so you're going to have to be invitational if you're going to really be able to seize the windows of opportunity and step in those doors of success and really experience what it's like to have true fulfillment, because it takes people connecting with people, and you got to be involved in someone else's life.
And that is the key, that you must be willing to connect with other people. You're not just giving out, but you're also willing to listen and to receive from another person.
Yeah. The next N is to be interventional. Now, this is kind of an interesting word because it really means you're willing to step into a crisis moment with someone else. And a lot of times when crisis comes up, because we're not necessarily, we feel awkward, we don't know what to say, you're afraid you might say the wrong thing, then we run the risk of not doing anything at all.
Yeah.
And we're telling you, it's very important to be there for people when they're in a crisis moment, and to, even if you don't know what to do, but to walk through the process of helping them get the help that they need.
Yeah.
You say, well, what does this have to do with me seizing an opportunity or stepping into success or experiencing fulfillment? And that is, again, going back to our first point, you never know what's going to happen if you help someone else. You have no idea how that for helping someone else in their moment of crisis eventually comes back to help you. It really is true. Whatever you sow, that's what you're going to reap.
Right. Not only that, you don't know who's watching you. You don't know who's watching you and is looking for an opportunity to plant into someone else's life. So your being there and willing to intervene is opening up an opportunity for you.
The next one is to be willing to be inventional. Now, we kind of made this word up. That's really not a word, to be inventional, but it merely means to be inventive. Mm-hmm. That's taking on the characteristic of being creative in your communication, and even creative ways of responding to people when there are right. It might not be a crisis, just maybe someone with questions, and sometimes people have questions that they don't know how to ask, and so being inventional gives you the ability to hear the question that people are really asking without asking, or to hear what they're trying to say, and that's because you have the creative mind to be able to hear and respond to problems, to issues. Being an inventional person means that you're the type that when we come up against something where nobody else knows what to do, you don't throw your hands up and say, well, we can't figure that out. No, you're trying to find a way. You're one of those people who never says this won't work. You're constantly trying to think of some way that we can make this happen.
Yes, and it usually takes you right back to our first point, intercessional, because you need to hear from God. He is the one who causes you to be creative. He is the master creator. So you go right back to the source.
And our last N is to be international. Now, it's kind of a play on words, and it's kind of an expanding of a thought, because usually when we think of international, we just think in terms of nations. But what Carol and I are really talking about is being willing to reach out beyond your own experience, your own ethnic group, your own culture, your own beliefs, to reach out to other people, to really try to understand where others are coming from. Again, in this social media age where as soon as someone posts something on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter that we disagree with, we're very quick to delete people and to dismiss them out of our lives. I'll tell you personally, I have befriended people and stayed friends with people who have views that are diametrically opposed to mine. Why do I do that? Because it keeps me sharp to be able to understand better and more where other people are coming from. When you only live your life only wrapped up in your bubble and your experience, and only around people that believe like you, that live like you, that think like you, then you end up limiting yourself for, again, those wonderful windows of opportunity that can come, those doors of success that are going to open to you, and really learning what it means to have a life where you're in the way of fulfillment. This is Chris and Carol Green, and we'd like to thank you for joining with us here on Fruitful Living, and we're trusting that these 5 N's will get you where you've got to be.